Now more than ever, your mindset matters. If you're going to be the professional agent that's adding the most value, then this is going to be the podcast you're going to listen to. I got my friend David Childers with us, the CEO for Keeping Current Matters. We're going to break down exactly some of the positive things that are out there that you can share in your local environment that's going to help buyers and sellers make the best decision for themselves. David, this is something I think is very timely for agents for us to talk about. As you know, we're working in a news cycle that is constantly adding worry, fear, and I think a lot of agents are just trying to figure out what do they do now, and mindset is so critically important. What would you say to the agent out there as far as where their minds should be and some of the things that you would suggest?
Well, I think mindset right now is probably the biggest battle for every agent in everything that's come out with the NAR settlement, everything looking forward to July. And really, here would be my question. Who are you listening to? Are you listening to people in our business? Are you listening to opinions? Are you listening to the fear? Or are you looking at facts about our business? Because when you start to look at the facts, they tell a different story. Right. And you and I did a video a couple of weeks ago where we talked about what consumers are thinking right now, and they're not thinking some of the things that we're thinking, right? We have that statistic: 3 out of 4 buyers right now want advice, are willing to pay for advice. So certainly my message there would be careful who you're listening to right now. Yeah,
that's really wise, and I think also, have a fact-based opinion, have a professional fact-based opinion.
Right.
So let's talk about some of those things. Obviously, y'all do an amazing job at KCM providing us with the details and the facts. What are some of those facts that you would suggest agents really focus in on as far as some of those?
Well, I think there are a lot of facts about this market, but we're here at Unite for Inside Real Estate, and one of the questions that I'll always ask, even in a presentation, is do you have a relevant market opinion based upon fact? Because if you don't have that, then when a question comes up, you're going to answer it one of two different ways. Probably, I don't know, let's wait and see, or let me share something with you about this topic, whether it be prices or inventory, days on market, whatever the case is in your local market. And so I think having a relevant market opinion based upon fact is critical in this market. So let's talk about that. One of the things that I think people should look at right now are prices, what's going on with prices. I can tell you this, the 7 forecasters that we follow at Keeping Current Matters look to, the average of them is about 3.5% in price appreciation this year, but they range anywhere from, a flat market to maybe 5%. We started off the year saying we think we'll see 5% in residential real estate. I think we'll see that this year. Yeah. So if you look at that, you start to then see the picture of what's going on. Now, one of the things that always happens, and it's happened here recently as us recording this, is some of these forecasters might readjust what they think about pricing given the current environment. Well, the media is going to take that and run with it and say, okay, here's what's going to happen this year in real estate versus maybe what really will happen. But I think we certainly see a positive year relative to prices across the country.
What about transactions? Obviously, that's something I think if you're looking for something from a positive standpoint, if your mindset last year was, and is your mindset better is the question I would have, is your mindset better this year or was it better last year? The facts are, everything we're seeing is there's more business to be done this year.
Sure, yeah. So what we look at Keeping Current Matters are what are the number of existing home sales that are forecasted for this year, what are the number of new home sales that are forecasted for this year. And if you look at the forecasters, anywhere from $5.5 to $5 million total, 5 million total home sales in this country. So a year that will be, filled with transactions. The question is, how much of that share are you going to grab in your market, right? So I think there is no doubt that we are in a demand-based rate environment. And you take all the things that are happening across the world, you take the lack of the Fed cutting the Fed funds rate, and that's going to have an impact on the market, no doubt. But there will be plenty of transactions out there for the folks that are active in the market and aren't sort of paralyzed with all the news and all the things that are going on.
All right, so that's great. We're talking, obviously, there's a lot of things to be looking at positive as far as pricing. There's a lot of things as far as transactions. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, mortgage rates, and let's talk a little bit about that. And what are you watching there, and what are some of the facts you'd give some people?
Yeah, so I mentioned it, we're in a demand-based rate environment. We believe 6.5% is sort of the dividing line between limited or weak demand and then good and strong demand. Most consumers, I think, have realized we're not going to see what we saw 2 years ago and maybe a 3% 30-year fixed. So there are a couple things that we look at. One is, what are economists saying right now to the 10-year Treasury, what's happening there? And then what ultimately is the Fed saying, and what is the Fed doing? So let me back up there and talk just a minute about what economists are saying. A couple of things. One, I will tell you, today versus a year ago, maybe in the middle of 2023, less economists believe we're going into a recession in this country. They believe, the Fed will do a fairly good job of engineering this soft landing. Now we'll have to wait and see, but I can tell you they're more optimistic that we'll see that soft landing as number one. Two, you just want to look at what's happening out in the world, and we're experiencing right now a little bit of volatility based on things that are happening in the Middle East, things that are happening here relative to inflation. Is inflation ticking back up again? And then three, all of that impacts our business, right? It impacts what's happening with financing. Most people that are going to go out and buy a home are going to finance it. Now, there's certainly a record number of cash transactions, depending on the market that people are in. Maybe some markets experiencing more of that than others. But no doubt, I think as we go into the second half of the year, we'll see a better rate environment. As we're recording this, we think the 30-year fixed around 7.5%. It's jumped up over the last couple of weeks. Most of the folks that forecast mortgage rates say in the second half of the year, we should be in the sixes, probably 6.5%. By the end of the year. So that will bode well for folks that are out there thinking about doing something that go, we're going to jump in. Now, here's the thing that I always remind people of, is if you have that conversation with somebody and they say, okay, great, we'll wait until we get there, right? We'll wait till rates come down and we'll buy. Well, what do you think everybody else is going to do at that point?
Right.
I think we could see a time right now where folks can hop back into the market. Inventory in most markets is rising, and as we go throughout the year, probably see a better second half than maybe even the first half.
Yeah, there's some things to be positive about out there. Obviously, in the midst of the storm, this is, as you and I have talked, this is the time when the professional agents will separate themselves from everyone else. This is an opportunity to be that thought leader, to be the person that steps up when everybody else is trying to figure out what to do.
I think that's right. The thing that I've been thinking a lot about is, in our world, everything's changed, but nothing's changed. Everything's changed relative to the NAR settlement and sort of things that impact our business, but nothing's changed relative to our need to be the educator. Nothing's changed relative to our need to be out in the market and having a market-based opinion. If anything, that's risen over the last several months and certainly this year. But I think our job is to be active, to be able to share with people, these are what the facts are versus maybe somebody's opinion. When a question comes up in the market today, I think being able to share exactly what's happening is the difference maker. This is a time where people want to know, do you understand what's happening right now in the market? Can you give them good advice? That way, you don't have to convince anybody to do anything. You can be the educator. They can then make the best decision for them and their family.
Always good stuff, my friend. Hey, listen, if you're out there and you're wondering, buyers and sellers need your professionalism now more than ever before. Tap into the resources at Keeping Current Matters. Make sure your local market expert, and add value like never before, and your business will still have the opportunity to grow like never before. Thanks for everything, my friend.
Got it, buddy.
Absolutely. Take care, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.